These men will make money off of your dead body. Off your dead body. This man, oh my God. Did you see what he's doing? 2 years after Suzanne Somers' death, he's come up with an AI Suzanne that you can pay to ask medical advice from. Now, if this man wasn't such a big old pervert, I'd be like, okay, it's just a man manning, right? But I've had a boot on his neck for a long time. I wrote this for Glamour magazine. It was actually my first article for Glamour magazine in 2017. When they both talked about this as if it's normal, that he grapes her in her sleep regularly. More on that in a second. First, let's talk about how he is going to use her dead body to keep making money. But I first learned about this from this post. I fully agree, and I think that we should start doing this, I guess. I actually want to publicly say right now, I do not consent to, if I die, my image, like how do we get this from not happening? They're already doing it to us while we're alive, so probably there's no way. Now, when you see articles that frame it like this, that he's doing everything he can to keep Suzanne Somers' memory alive, that's what he's doing everything he can to make money off of her even though she's dead. Okay, that's what that means. If anything, this is an insult to her memory. This is so disrespectful and offensive towards her memory. But you know what? I mean, maybe she did consent to this because she was consenting to a lot of insane stuff in that relationship. Their relationship is so disturbing, but I'll show you in a minute. That her husband and partner of 55 years. So, you know, like I'm not even 55 years old, okay? I can't imagine being with someone that long. So, of course, she probably did consent to this, but also don't believe men. Why would he not lie? He has no reason to not lie. I would love to see a written statement that she signed, but that's not going to happen. She probably did agree to it, but even if she didn't, doesn't matter. Men lie. They lie all the time. Sure, so they discussed it for decades. Okay, so the Suzanne AI twin that he shared as a demo of at a conference is perfect. You know who's not perfect? Suzanne Somers. Clearly. Or any human being, okay? But you know who is perfect? The AI version of women, because they will consent to anything you want. They can't say no. That is a perfect version of a woman to so many men. When you look at the finished one next to the real Suzanne, you can't tell the difference. It's amazing. And I mean, I've been with this bitch for 55 years, so I know what her face looks like. I've come on it a lot. This will make sense more in a minute, that joke, because I really believe he just used her as like a schmeg's robot, honestly. And just look at the two of them side by side. I really can't tell which one's the real one and which one is AI. Yeah, that's terrifying. But anyway, keep selling us this crap. Okay, sure. Gross. So they trained this thing with all of her 27 books and a lot of interviews so that she, the AI, is really ready to be able to be asked any question at all and be able to answer it, because the answers will be within her. Really? Okay, let's just think about this for a second and how men operate. Do you think, given what they did to Bonnie Blue, whatever that woman's name is, do you think that men who purchase the Suzanne Somers AI are gonna ask her good questions? Are they going to be like, what does it do when you get cum all over your eyeballs? Does it hurt if I stick it in your ear? Like, the questions that a man would ask her are going to be completely unhinged. But you know what? If you can pay to ask her whatever you want, she'll probably be like, it feels good. Because this is what they do. They love robots because robots lie to them. That's why these men keep falling in love with these AI people. Sure, they've been having an ongoing conversation about it since the 80s. Okay, I'm sorry, but I lived through the 80s, and I don't remember this being part of the thing we were sold. I was convinced we were going to be driving in cars that flew. Like, Back to the Future 2 told us. This nightmare of what the future is, I don't know. I thought it was going to be fun stuff. Sneakers that close by themselves. But I don't remember them ever talking about this. Maybe if there's any other Gen X, were they talking about this a lot? Oh, we're going to have a duplicate of you. Because I think I would have been really scared by that. I just thought a robot was going to be like zooming around the house like in Rocky IV that just has drinks and is like, hello, and that's it. It never occurred to me that my dead dad would be stay alive forever through an AI. Like, what? But since he's BFF with this Ray dude, who, by the way, Bill Gates described as the smartest man on the planet, which he is. Okay. So 30 years ago, they're talking about this. Okay, so maybe your insider knowledge being BFFs with the smartest man on the planet. So this is what y'all were talking about. Okay. Like, okay, sure. It was Suzanne's idea. Not mine. This was her idea. Sure. She said, I think we should do that. She said, I think it'd be very interesting and will provide a service to my fans, to the people who have been reading my books and really want and need information about their health. I mean, again, I'm not saying this is beyond her, because she also on that stage that my article's about completely said some stuff being like, yeah, he like grapes me every morning. And laughed. So sure, this is not beyond reason, because women are so indoctrinated with patriarchy and also a lot have so much trauma from men that this is just what men do. They just rape you while you're sleeping. Legally, they've been able to do that. They still can do that in some places. But okay, sure, let's just assume that this is this man's attempt to fulfill her wish. Okay. I mean, the first time he talked to the AI, Suzanne, it was a little strange. But after that, I forgot about the fact that I was talking to a robot. That's probably because you had no real conversations with the actual human. So the robot version probably seems exactly the same, because men don't actually get to know their partners, their wives. I'm talking about the men who marry women to use our bodies, our free labor, blah, 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 which is so many of them. They don't even know their wives. So this makes sense how he's like, the robot's just like her. I mean, he was a little concerned the family wouldn't be on board with it. But yeah, they love the idea. He said, we're going to get to the point where it's not going to seem weird. This would never not seem weird to me. I don't want to talk to anybody who's dead. Not a robot version of them. Not AI. Especially not with all that data. But the family's into it. Because they're all very young and successful. What? And then he goes on to complain that the Kennedy Center, he was chosen to be one of the honorees this year, and he suggested that Suzanne Somers' fake robot twin, he was on the committee for the honorees, and he suggested this robot. And they were like, we only do this for people who are alive. I said, I know that, but Suzanne AI is the future, and the future's now! Unfortunately, I couldn't get them to go for it. I thought the audience would just love, because he's thinking of us. A man like this is always thinking about us and how we would just love to see this. But, he just couldn't get it over the finish line. Once I'm satisfied that we have everything, then we'll put her on SuzanneSomers.com. And we'll invite all her fans and our customers to come and talk to her. It's all about selling. Fans are just customers. They can come and just hang out with her. Dude, do you know what men are going to do to her? You know what they do to real women like that Bonnie lady? Do you know what men are going to... He doesn't care. He probably gets off on the idea of men doing all kinds of freaky-deaky stuff to her. Violent stuff. Illegal stuff. Hell, he'd probably be okay if they just stabbed her and killed her. And she'll be available 24/7, which never sleeps. That's the point. That's why they love AI. Can't say no. Will just literally do anything and never stops working. This is their wet dream, y'all. These AI women do all this labor all the time, and they don't ever rest. They are available to be exploited at all hours, every day, including holidays. It'll be really wonderful. The people are going to come and ask her about health stuff. Sure, buddy. We know that she did the Thigh Master thing and had all this health stuff. And, she had her own long, hard journey with her own health and all kinds of issues, which he insisted on they keep forking through all of them. More on that in 1 second. But even the idea that she's like a health expert isn't true. There's a lot of people, stars, who have their own experiences with things. Some of it's helpful, some of it's bonkers. But I promise you, anybody who's paying money for this AI is probably a sick, twisted dude. Not someone asking about, I almost said Dr. Lieb, that's the French thing here. Whatever that free website is for doctor stuff. But don't worry, the last thing he wants is anything that's incorrect about health issues. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, sure. I'm sure you care about that. Now, the idea of making it is so upsetting to family members. Robin Williams' daughter has begged people to stop doing this already. She's begged people to stop doing it. It's a waste of time and energy. And believe me, it is not what he'd want. And then she also called out how ridiculous it is, because this is literally taking away human experience, the real work of living actors right now, and called out how this is not art. Using this AI stuff is not art. It's sloppy, it's gross, it's exploitive, and stop calling the future AI. And it's just recycling and regurgitating stolen stuff like my work. And like all of the artists that you love, they steal all people's work and then profit off of it without any of us getting anything from it. They steal your work too. They just steal everything from all of us and then make money off of it. And then she also calls out consume culture. Because that's what this is. This is an attention economy and this desire to consume, but especially the way men consume women on corn and how people in general, like this is all just consuming. And she calls out the consent issue. She also was doing this to stand up for actors now, which she also did during the strikes years ago, because they all knew this was coming. Let's get back to this dude. First of all, if you just look at his Wikipedia, this man does not know how to be alone. And in fact, he says, and I'll show you in a second, that Suzanne would want him out dating a bunch of young women. Anyway, it's interesting because he had an affair with her. He met her while he was married. So he has been partnered since 1958, pretty much nonstop. They didn't get married till 1977 because he met his second wife, an actress, Suzanne Somers. Well, she worked on this show he was as a model. And even though he was already married, they began a relationship, which led to an abortion. More of that in a second. And after living together for 9 years, they finally married. Okay? So didn't even take a beat to move in with and be with another woman. That sounds to me like a man who cannot be alone. And also, as you're going to see in a minute, is a man with a serious problem with schmegs. And of course, now he's in a relationship with her former co-star. But he's been hanging out with someone ever since she died. The body wasn't even cold, because that is her wish, to not mope around, just like it's her wish for sure for him to create a robot Suzanne where anyone can do whatever they want. It's also her wish that he immediately get out there and not mope around. I'm not saying she didn't say this, because she seemed extremely codependent and like brainwashed by this man. But also, like, whose idea was this really? According to him, she urged him to go find love again. And not long after she died, he was out seen on a date with not one, but two attractive women. And then he said, I'm a virgin dater. Oh, poor guy. He hasn't been on a date in 50 years. Because I guess what he had with Suzanne wasn't really dating. It was cheating. So, poor guy is new to the scene. Probably doesn't even know how to work an app. Well, he probably does, because he's probably on like Pornhub. Just look at some of the weird stuff. Like, this isn't weird. This is like, what? It's gonna get real weird. Hold on. He celebrated his first Christmas after her death, saying she loved having a big Christmas tree, as big as possible. She did all the decorations while I steadied the stool and was prepared at every moment for her to fall into my arms. Everybody loves a hero, right? Great. Sounds like you were no help. Sounds like you just stood there and did nothing. I'm gonna hold the ladder, okay. Hell, I'm surprised you didn't shake it so she falls. And then you get to save her, because we know men do that. Watch out for these firefighters. Blech. He also shared a holiday hack. You can take a bunch of empty boxes and put them in the, whatever. I'm not even gonna go into this. I just thought it's funny. The way they frame this, like he's this great guy. And hey, he has a holiday hack too. The man who's probably done nothing to decorate, because she probably did all the Christmas magic. He just held the ladder and maybe didn't shake it. This is very telling. This reminds me of Kristen and Dax, who I just talked about yesterday. If you haven't seen that video, this sounds so much like that. For the first few years of our love affair being the key word, we fought like mad dogs. Did you black out like Kristen? Did you fight so hard you blacked out? Because that's normal. But we always return to our passionate, I love that word, passionate. It gets used to justify the worst stuff. Our passionate love for one another. After one of our fights, Suzanne said to me, no matter how bad it gets, let's never break up. And we never did. Which is kind of what Kristen's been saying to Dax. Like, she's made it clear she is never leaving that man. And he has been, he even had his ex on his podcast like yesterday. After I did that whole video, I was like, oh my God, it's just never ending. Like, if I made a video every time that man did something ridiculous, I would have like 500 videos. So after our fights, she said, no matter what, no matter how bad it gets, you can stab me, you can strangle me, you can do whatever you want, you can make a robot of me that men, come on, let's like never break up. Exploit me till the day I die, and then after I'm dead, exploit my dead body. And boy, has he taken that promise very seriously. Please, before I continue, do not ever let a man think you are locked in. That is the worst thing you can ever do. I'm not saying threaten divorce every day. That's also could be like abusive, being like every day being like, I'm going to leave. What I'm saying is if these men ever think that there is no way you would ever leave them, to quote Whoopi Goldberg, you're in danger, girl. Don't ever let them think that. So when talking about her death, I thought it was going to be him because, he was 10 years older. And if that happened, if he had died first, she would be alone, which is a terrible conundrum. The idea of her being, honey, she wouldn't be alone. Women are never alone, okay? That's y'all. Y'all are alone. But even when your wife dies, you don't know how to be alone. And the only reason why you're not alone is because you got money. There's plenty of men in nursing homes right now who are paying a fair price for treating their wives like crap and being terrible dads. That should be your fate, but you got money, so, Look at this. This is also sick. He said they had 58 years together, 46 married, and not even 1 hour apart for 42 of those years. What the fork? That is so unhealthy. That is like so unhealthy. This woman sounds like a hostage. Now, a volunteer hostage, sure, because she's brain forked, but unless you are literally conjoined twins or whatever the word is, there is no reason to ever be with anyone all the time. What the hell? Like, this is, oh God. And just like Kristen and Dax, they talked about their relationship as if this was couples gold. And this sounds like nothing but abuse. And in this case, like schmeg's slavery, but like kind of consenting to it. But any woman who's ever been in an abusive relationship, I say this as somebody who was who was in one, the way the mind will justify the most horrific things because of something in your past, plus your patriarchal conditioning and just assuming you owe stuff to men. I get it. I could see how she seemed to believe this was healthy. But when you don't know anything different, then if you don't know, you don't actually know what love is, and then you're with someone super like abusive or gaslighting or then it's really easy to lose yourself in that. I just have a problem when celebrities go out here and they make their whole love life everyone's like, we would have never known any of this if they didn't go on talk shows and constantly talk about it, just like Dax and Kristen. We wouldn't know how messed up their relationship is, much less feel like we are being sold it if they would just shut up. Then when talking about their little affair, when they met on this show, their first night together. This is what she said. I had my first pot brownie. It's the first time I ever went to a man's hotel room. And it's the first time I ever slept with a man on the first date. The affair resulted in a pregnancy. And Somers decided to get an abortion. So from day one, he had a wife and he's like, hey baby, let's go to a hotel. Gives her a bunch of pot brownies. I don't know if you've done that before. Those mess you up. Oh my God, it is nothing like smoking. I have never eaten weed or whatever, the oil, without being unbelievably out of my mind. I could see this, her not being so with it that night. She gets pregnant after one hookup with him. And then she gets an abortion, good for her, and then says, back then I was lying, manipulative, hiding. Okay. Okay. He's the one having an affair. Like, I don't know. I don't have it in me to look this interview up. Sorry. I got too much to cover. After a turbulent start, right, where they fighting all the time, abortion runs right out of the gate, they begin to build a foundation, the foundation of a lasting relationship. Great. Thank you. I love advice like this, Hey, everybody, this is how you build a foundation for a lasting doesn't mean shit. Lasting oftentimes means abusive and awful, and she doesn't have the will or the money or the wherewithal to leave. Ask your grandma. My grandma was a hostage till the day she died. That man would not leave her. He refused to give her a divorce. Celebrated at her funeral. Didn't let her leave. Celebrated her death. Was dating and married very quickly after. But they had a lasting relationship. She was with him for decades. Lasting doesn't mean anything. Lasting means enduring, usually. Not always, okay? She would later use the marital longevity to promote sex positivity. This is not sex positivity. Okay, I don't know what this is, but it's not that. And she was never squeamish about talking about it. That is why you know that she was probably so mind forked, because she had no shame or embarrassment, literally admitting in multiple interviews that her husband grapes her daily. She talks about how he's in the mood all the time. She famously shared that they are having sex twice daily. This was what my article was about, because they also said this on the Megyn Kelly show. That racist white lady. I only watched it for this interview to write about it. Thank God I don't think that's on the air anymore. She's too busy terrorizing other people. I don't even know what she's on. Anyway, I usually say I slept through one of them. That's usually the one at 4 o'clock in the morning. After he grapes her in the morning, at 4 a.m., by the way. That's not even the morning. That's like the middle of the night. He does it again around 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm in the mood. Okay. Don't worry, it's not just morning hours, because they're fucking all day, too. In 2017, she told Entertainment Tonight that her and Hamel didn't restrict their lovemaking to morning hours, okay? So in case anyone's worrying, they start off their evening with a romantic dance, and then when things took a sensual turn, they don't even bother going to the bed. We've never gotten to the couch. How much do you think this is him? I'm sorry. I am a horny bitch. Okay? I'm a horny bitch. I love advocating for women's pleasure. As someone who didn't think I had any for a really long time, was celibate for 12 of my years between 18 and 35. 12! And then turned into the horniest woman ever. Let me tell you something. I'm not saying that she didn't have a drive, but you will not convince me this is her. Given that he has to have it every morning at 4 a.m., whether she's awake or not. Usually it's better if she's asleep. In fact, in the article that I wrote, she said this in this one interview with Megyn Kelly. Megyn asked her, it's true that they have sex every day. She bragged that her husband, 81 at the time, is an animal now, thanks to all those testosterone supplements. Sometimes I'm not awake for it, though. Everyone has a good laugh about that. Then Kelly said, Alan must think those are some of the best times. Fine by me, he said. Oh, I just love 3 adults on a stage laughing about a man graping his wife. And Megyn Kelly, the worst freaking is big surprise, worse than him. So those are the best times, right, buddy? When you're graping her. I bet that's the best, when you can just do whatever you want. She's asleep. She's not even there. Yeah, and people wonder, it's amazing to me that people don't believe that men fork corpses, because do you know how many men do this to women in their sleep? You know how many times men have tried to do this to me in my sleep? Multiple times. Different men. They love forking a passed out woman. There's even a website called While She's Sleeping or something. It's a whole porn site. Of course, the women are faking being asleep. I hope. But this is they love it. They love it. No wonder they want robots. You can't say no. I mean, it's disgusting to think that they would rather someone dead or asleep than someone who reciprocates even. But with men like this, it's not about the thing. It's about taking something. They almost like it more when they get it by stealing it. I've done videos about this. And joked about how in Canada it was illegal to do that. And it's not illegal in every state still, by the way. And Suzanne nudged me, you'd be in jail, and everybody laughs. In another interview, she talked about how he has the blood pressure of an athlete and claims that Schmegs is his daily cardio workout. It's a hell of a lot more fun than a treadmill. I'm sorry. This is so upsetting. I know I'm laughing, but I find this deeply disturbing. and laughing about disturbing stuff is sometimes the only thing I can honestly like. Is that why she's laughing? I think hers is more like, minimizing. You can laugh to minimize. I'm laugh when I'm deeply disturbed too. Okay, so then even when she's injured, so I mean, they didn't have kids, but if they did have kids, he'd be one of these husbands, which is many of them, who doesn't care that she's supposed to wait after, giving birth 6 weeks or whatever. So many men pressure their wives or partner into doing it while she's literally like torn. Like, things are cut. Nope, they don't want to wait. So when she had a hip injury, he found a way around it. In January 2020, she told Page Six she had to spend at least 6 weeks abstaining from sex after she fractured her hip. Now, I don't know how she had a hip injury, but I wouldn't be surprised. However, she and Alan worked out a way to resume their robust lovemaking. Okay, we'll call that. Sure. Before she fully recovered, right? This animal can't wait. This is how, if you're a man and you're following me, this is how y'all, the way you dehumanize yourself to justify ungodly, I hate that word. Never mind. God, what do I say? God, why am I saying God? Ugh. Point is the way that you dehumanize yourself to justify doing violent, cruel things. Boys will be boys. We need it. No, you don't. You don't need it. That's not a need. That's a want. It's not a need. Don't suffer as much, nearly as much, but y'all suffer under patriarchy because you actually don't need this. And then it's like, you will do this to your wife because your need. Woman has a broken pelvis, right? Fractured hip, whatever. The position is not photographable. Oh, I'm surprised they didn't show a photo, honestly. She also talked about how the needles were helping keep the spark alive. Okay, we'll call it spark. Sure. Okay. I have a husband who I inject every Tuesday. Oh, you have to do that? God, I would hate to have to put shots in somebody. Unless they it was like something they needed and it's because I care for them. But he's like, baby, I want to be able to grape you more. Put a needle in me too. I can do it. Every Tuesday with testosterone. And Wednesday's a very good day. This is what brainwashing looks like, y'all. Oh my God. Then she had another injury. October 2020. Oh, this is also 2020. She went on Instagram, let her fans know that she had suffered another injury falling down the stairs. She'd taken a tumble after he reached for her hand and tripped while ascending the stairs. She was still using a crutch at the time because she's got that damn hip that's keeping her sex life from thriving, from being raped all the time. So she was unable to catch herself with the other hand because she had her hand on a crutch because of her hip injury, and because they're holding hands like couples who love each other do. That's the problem with being in love with each other, okay? Like, you just love each other so much that you have to hold hands and be around each other all the time, and even when you're injured, you have to forward like rabbit. But she fell on top of him, but she's had more fun being on top of him. Everything's just a joke. Oh, God, this is so sick, y'all. She had to wear a neck brace post-surgery. Once again, he didn't wait for her to completely heal because the man's got needs. He had to recommence their morning routine, their morning grape. I woke up yesterday morning thinking, what is he doing? He never misses an opportunity. Opportunity. That's one way to look at it. You being in a restful state, trying to recover from 2 major injuries, you literally being next to him is an opportunity. Okay. So, I mean, these headlines are just bonkers. Look at this. This is what brainwashing looks like. Oh my God. Imagine a man who loves you insisting you got a fractured hip and a neck brace and he's like, let's go, baby. Like it or not. She said after the fall, the pain was awful in her shoulder and neck. She had to go to the emergency room. And look, they have the audacity to say this. Hamel, who wasn't injured, has been doting on her. A dog collar. My new theme song is How Much Is That Doggy in the Oh God. I can't turn my head. I can't keep it straight ahead. No joke. But every day gets a little better. Well, Sneggs didn't figure into the accident. Okay, so in case anyone wasn't sure, she did not get injured because of Schmeg. It's been part of her healing. Great. I'm sure this was her idea too. This goes back to that quote when she woke up and she says, what is he doing? He never misses an opportunity. But I had fun. I must thank him 50 times a day. When someone is this selfless and this tender, if he wants sex 2, 3, 10 times a day, you know. Okay, I'm just going to I'm going to leave this quote up here for anyone who wants to read that again. Because I actually think she believed that he was tender and selfless and all this stuff. But anybody who feels like they have to say yes to somebody, there is abuse. Again, when she talked about it for another interview, when talking about, again, how they have sex twice a day, at least, for two people who really enjoy it, there's not much you can do. There's no point of entry. I had to stay in bed for 6 weeks, no moving. But my husband went to bed with me. Just in case you think I was, healing and resting. No, he was in the bed there with me, just sticking it in me. Sometimes when I'm asleep, because it's better that way, right, Megan? Anyway, if you like my work, please follow my Patreon. I always have a comment song at the end, so stay tuned for that. If you like, I interview people. I talk about my personal life, travel stories. I have watch parties, hangouts, all kinds of stuff over on Patreon. That's what keeps me going, because the algorithms are unpredictable. Thank you, Patreon people. Thanks for watching, engaging, boost if you can and know how to and want to, comment, all that stuff. And let me know if you heard the comment song. Now that you're dead, I'm gonna make money off selling your dead body, robot wife. Men can come and dance all over your face. I met you when I was married and younger. Held you hostage, a sex slave. I wrote this for Glamour, by the way. And now you're dead. I'm gonna make a robot version and sell it, because even when you were alive in a neck brace I made, you for me. I don't care. I'm a sick and twisted old man. Crazy eyes, they all got crazy eyes. She would want this to keep forking and not mope around. But anyway, they wonder why great divorce. Because these old men are sick and twisted and tell you, but even these, you might as well, you're a doll anyway. Robot, I swear, Sarah tried to tell us, Sarah Connor, all these men, they're dangerous, they're gonna kill you. Even the robot, she's like, how do I kill this bitch? I mean, swear, maybe she had it right. These old men are the ones who won't age. Psychos, French braids, they're submissible. Glad you got that. I swear they're all freaks. They wonder why we don't want to be with men. Or they should marry your friend from childhood. You too, Uncle what's his butt, Dave. These freaks, the billionaire freaks, I swear. They want to be robots or just date a doll. God, how has this been normalized? Normalize this, baby. And no one wants these men anymore, like dating teenagers or whatever the hell this was. All these men are crazy. You looked out his dead crazy eyes, and Kim was right. God, she was so right. Sleep divorce, sleep divorce, or divorce for divorce. They'll do anything to stay alive and torture you. Even the old men. Turkey chin, turkey chin. Even she left. I swear they just want to torture you and tell you how much you were really happy, because this is love. Because they didn't kill you. Not yet.